To me, sacred ceremony thins the veils between this reality and the other realities. It allows those energies that we're largely unaware of to become more present for us. Therefore, when a person is getting ready to die and they're inevitably going to face those energies and experience them, it gives them a preview, a chance to experience them while they're still alive, and perhaps to have a new conscious relationship to them that they wouldn't have had they not had the ceremony. My notion of archetypal beings are that they're embedded in a larger field. We can call it the matrix, the Tao, the implicate order, that at its finest level is all just energy. And then that energy coalesces into patterns. And I think those patterns that then can influence we humans are archetypes. And they interface with our humanness, our condensed energy, in ways that sometimes we're not aware of, and that if we can become aware of the way in which we're impacted by those archetypal energies, we have a better chance of consciously relating to them and having a right relationship. In the Quechua language, they talk about the concept of Aini. Quechua is a language spoken by indigenous people in South America. And Aini is the concept of right relationship, mutuality, reciprocity. And to me, if one can develop right relationship with those archetypal energies in our life, we're more likely to be able to have right relationship with those archetypal energies when we die. And I'm sure we'll encounter those archetypal energies when we die. An archetype is a formative patterning energy that exists throughout the universe and that can influence how we act and how we think and how we feel. For me, a dream state is an altered awareness, an altered state of being where we can access realities that are not available to us in our everyday waking consciousness. And it's on that continuum between our waking consciousness and the infinite awareness in the collective unconscious, the matrix, the Tao. And since it contains information that isn't available to us in our everyday waking consciousness, it can be very useful if we have the right relationship to our dreams. To that end, it's been important for me to establish a dialogue or a relationship with the various dream images that I've had. And then, when I've gotten a sense of the message that the dream has for me, to attempt to incorporate any changes that I'm called to make in my waking everyday life. A few years ago, I was in Scotland, and I suffered an atrial fibrillation episode. It was in the middle of the night, and I went into the bathroom so I wouldn't disturb my wife, and I started to do Qigong to see if there would be some way energetically I could cause the atrial fibrillation to stop. And while I was doing the Qigong, I had the sense of a voice speaking to me. It was very palpable. The voice said, "Be still and know that I am God." And I think what all of us can do to access those places of infinite information is to learn how to be very, very still. And then further, to learn how to be very discerning so that we can start to discern what is the voice of Source and God and what are other voices. In some of the journey work that I've done, I've encountered a matrix. And when I first encountered it, it was rays of light connected to globules of light. And my sense was that everything is connected to everything else, and that those globules are consciousness, and that consciousness is continually being informed by the experiences of all sentient beings. Other people have written about the implicate order, about the field, about the Tao. To me, they're similar concepts. And when Jung talked about the collective unconscious, I think he was talking about a field that was a substrate and very similar to the matrix, the Tao, and those other concepts that I'm talking about. First, I believe we have to be very still when we want to access this through our intent. So we have to have an intent to access it, and then we have to be still to let its voice be heard. But sometimes it speaks to us even when we don't invite it to speak. And so we have to be prepared and ready to listen at times when we don't think that we're going to be spoken to. And more than that, when we get messages from that field, I believe it's important to heed them respectfully and act on them where we feel it's going to serve ourselves and spirit. In order to help with the grieving process, I think a person can be present with those who are bereaved. And if the person is willing to talk about it, to share one's belief about the afterlife, the fact that this life is a transitional place between where we came from before we were born and where we're going to go after we were born. In my own opinion, the place that we came from, this place, and the place that we're going to, is embedded in a field which has characteristics of love.